Glad to finally have you guys on. And
Yes, it's
are you gonna be main speaker today?
yes, I will.
And remind me one more time, what was your what do you want me to address you as?
You can call me Tyler, my first name.
Tyler.
You can call me Sub, Tyler, whatever you want.
Alrighty, cool. Good afternoon, Whale Coin Talk community. My name is Noah. I'm here today with Tyler, aka Sub of the Alpha Shares ecosystem. And Tyler, before we get started, how about you give us a quick background of who you are, your career path, and how you found your way into the crypto industry?
Sure. I love starting it out that way. Actually, it's kind of how I do it on my own as well. I think it's a good segue into kind of shows why anyone is doing what they're doing, right?
Mhm.
So I come from a real estate background. I'm out here in Arizona. I have been a broker or a real estate agent rather since I was 18, and I'm now a broker. Uh, Real estate is kind of my bread and butter. It's what I've been doing. Oh my God, my voice is going away this week. I've been in AMAs all week. We're doing kind of an AMA tour, so I apologize if it cracks. But I've been doing real estate for a long time, and I've been investing in technology. And when not investing in technology, rather kind of hobbyist, purchasing technology, loving the hardware side of things, then also getting into the software side of things. I've been investing in cryptocurrency since around 2016, 2017. But real estate and really the advent of trying to develop passive income, and then in combination with investing into projects about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when DeFi started, it really kind of opened my eyes to not only just investing in them, but how can I start my own? And so the first idea was actually to kind of leverage both my real estate background and what I've been learning in DeFi and cryptocurrency in Web3 and be able to combine the two, which the idea at first was, well, I have a lot of rental properties. My main source of income is through my management company, where I offer furnished rentals for traveling professionals. And I was like, hey, it's working really well. We've got a good brand around us. We could fill these units relatively easily. But it takes a lot of money if we wanted to go and expand and buy more properties. So the idea was, how do we fundraise, or if you will, fractionalize properties through the blockchain? So the idea at first was, we find a $500,000 house that's going to be a good rental. We'd go and we'd purchase it. We'd turn it into a series of 10,000 NFTs, each priced at $50. And so for as little as $50, you could purchase one of those NFTs, which would make you an owner, a 1/10,000th owner of that property, and therefore earn 1/10,000th of that rental income that would come in. And so that was the idea. But real estate, especially dependent on where you are, it undergoes local regulation, a lot of different overhead stuff that's going to take a lot of money, a lot of capital, things that would. It's not like you could just do it overnight. But that was the idea that kind of sparked this interest, and that's also kind of what initially got me going. Meeting developers, meeting my awesome co-founder John, who I don't know if he can be here today. He's actually just going full time, which is awesomely bullish. His last day at his Fortune 500 company that he's been working at for quite some time is tomorrow, and he's finally going full time on Alpha Shares. So we're very excited about that. But that's kind of what started it all, was looking at how can I create an application where we can kind of utilize blockchain technology to decentralize and fractionalize the ownership of some sort of income producing asset. And at first it was real estate. But now, for those that know who we are, it's now an NFT marketplace. It's using software as a service rather than real estate as a service. And I can get more into that later. I don't want to spill all the beans just yet if you got more questions for me. But that's really the beginnings of all of this.
Cool. And how does fractionalizing real estate via NFTs work for those that are novices in the space, or those that have never really heard about this mechanism before? And another question following up to that is this something that you're able to legally do in the United States?
So there are actually a couple of companies that are working on trying to set the precedent. I mean, everything when it comes down to real estate, it really is just another section of law. And so being a broker, we have power of attorney. We are practically, we're not real estate lawyers, but we deal with real estate law all the time. And so there's not a lot of precedent set behind what actually creates an owner through the blockchain. What makes you an owner through the blockchain. But from a traditional sense, what makes you an owner of a property is, who holds the deed of trust. The deed of trust is, either if you fully own your house, it's going to be owned by you. Depending on your mortgage situation, that deed might be somewhere else, locked in a filing cabinet, owned by your banker or some other lender. But that deed of trust is who owns the house. And when you go and you purchase a house and let's say you wanted to fractionalize it, the idea right now is that you can basically point that deed of trust to the blockchain and to that immutable NFT contract address. And since once it's deployed, it's non-fungible. It's basically saying that, hey, this deed of trust, this piece of paper, which in the future, hopefully, there's no paper at all. And that's the future, is that everything can kind of be non-fungibly, not database, but stored, if you will, on the blockchain. And that's how it's represented, instead of it being in a filing cabinet that if the whole building burns down, well, yeah, you're going to have to go through a whole legal process to get a new deed of trust issued. But that's how it works, is that deed of trust would literally point to the blockchain, and people could see that contract address and see, hey, well, this series of X amount of NFTs are basically the shares of this property. From a legal sense, this is where and why we didn't target this just yet. It's something in the future I'd love to go target, but it's very difficult to kind of determine the legal side of how to make everyone an owner. If you wanted to make everyone a specific owner, you most likely have to go and collect their private information. So you'd have to know their first, last name, address, so on and so forth. But if you have all that, it's perfectly legal. The one thing that people are trying to figure out is, how do you do it without collecting all that information? A completely full decentralized approach. Yeah.
Correct. And those NFT holders will be earning dividends, or for lack of a better term, some sort of yield from the rent of the property.
So in that instance, yeah. So, and I'll get into kind of how we segued this though into what we're currently doing. But yeah, in that instance with the real estate, it would be the net income, after expenses are paid and everything, whatever the net profit, if you will, net income, I guess it would be, whatever that would be in the end, the bottom line there, it would be split up between, whatever your ownership percentage is. So if you own one NFT, then you have 1/10,000th ownership, and you would earn 1/10,000th of that income. And it would be, most likely stabilized and then allowed to be paid out on a dynamic, rate, rather than it having to be weighted every month. But at first it would probably be monthly. But either way, we're getting ahead of ourselves, because that's something that we'd love to look into in the future. But to segue this into what we're doing now, we wanted to pick something that real estate is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's actually a multi-trillion-dollar industry if you look at it globally. But we're looking at, so what is another industry that we can kind of tap into? What's something that we can do a business SWOT analysis on, if you will? And I can utilize my very underutilized business degree. I say underutilized, but I guess it's just because a lot of business I say is common sense and not really much what I've learned in college. But either way, go ahead and use those formal education hours and put it towards what in this market can we take advantage of, if you will. What market can we get into that has a good amount of money and is growing? And what we picked was the NFT market. And so we noticed that in 2020, the NFT market was, between a 200 to 500, it depends on where you look, $1 million in terms of total volume of that whole year market. And when you look at 2021, depending on, again, what metrics you look at, some say that it's over 10 billion. Most say it's between 6 and 10 billion in terms of the total volume of 2021. 2022 is not finished yet, so we don't know the total volume numbers there, but we will see that soon. Either way, it's safe to say that NFTs are growing. NFTs have, massively exploded from being nothing to being big status pieces. And since they've been transitioning into becoming more utilitarian, offering something for what an NFT actually is, which is a non-fungible token, something that can't be changed, which is where we took advantage of it. Where not only do we want to aid to this ecosystem and take part in this giant industry, if you will, in terms of how large it is from a financial size, but first, we wanted to look at who are the big players right now in this $10 billion industry. Well, we all know about OpenSea. We all know about LooksRare, Magic Eden, the top marketplaces. And those all do millions and millions and millions of dollars a day in volume. They take a fee. So they all take about a 2 to 2.5% fee. And that fee is just straight profit that goes back to their centralized group of investors. They're all very heavily funded marketplaces that have raised millions and millions of dollars from a centralized sense. So venture capitalists, private equity firms, so on and so forth. And they're doing really, really well. I mean, that's how you traditionally raise your finances, how you traditionally raise the money for a company, which is excellent. But what we wanted to do was take a different approach. And in February, we launched our token Alpha. And that Alpha token was at first a reflection token that grew a treasury. And we used that treasury as our seed round. And that seed round money went into developing our own NFT marketplace, that we took the things that we loved about all those top premium ones and all the things that were lacking. And that's what we're building, is combining everything into one and really having a full community approach. Every NFT marketplace says that they're community focused, but we are community centric. everything about our marketplace is focused around the community and centralized around who gets to basically own this marketplace. It's the community. 70% of all of those fees that are taken on our marketplace, because again, our marketplace is an income producing business, but 70% of all of that income goes back to the community. 50% goes to the people holding our NFTs, and 20% goes to the people staking our token. So we're really focused on making a premium, world-class, multi-chain NFT marketplace, and then making those or pushing those profits back to those that support us. And so our mint is with our token that launched in February. We wanted to make sure that the people that supported us since we launched aren't just having to go and be like, oh, I bought your Alpha token, yay, now I got to mint your NFT with AVAX. No, rather we're supporting the people that have purchased our Alpha token and want to use that. And so right now it costs about $100 worth of our Alpha token to mint an NFT, of which over 40% have already been minted, and we have 1,000 per week that unlock, which the next 1,000 are unlocking tomorrow, or actually today. It's Tuesday, feels like Monday. We've got a couple, or we still have some that are still unlocked from last week, but we're doing that 1,000 a week because they do emit a little bit of alpha once you mint them. And that's because since they are minted with the token, we want to get some tokens back into circulation. So you could immediately go mint one and make some alpha. And just to real quick, just because I know it could be confusing, because it does emit some alpha immediately to get it back into circulation, but the true benefit here is really, like I said, just to kind of really nail it in there, a marketplace takes a fee. If someone trades an NFT and someone buys one or someone lists one up for sale and someone buys it for $100, there's a $2.50 fee that's taken. 70% of that $2.50 would immediately be used to distribute to people that are either holding our NFTs or staking the token. So completely dynamic. We're right now just on Avalanche, but once we get into those larger chains, we're going to be doing some significant volume, and that volume is going to be significant for the people that support us and join our ecosystem.
Got it. So 20% to alpha stakers, 50% to Wolf NFT stakers, and the Wolf NFTs are still minting. From what I see, 40,000 of the total 10,000 have been minted.
4,000, yeah.
Sorry, did I say 4,000?
Yeah, I wish 40,000. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, I love the idea of sharing that revenue with really the people that are driving volume in your ecosystem. What's happening to, and you might have mentioned this and it went over my head, but what's happening to the other 30% of revenue?
So that's obviously going back to the company. We do have quite a few fixed expenses, and obviously as you scale something that's software as a service, especially something that is catering to an increasing number of users, your infrastructure costs also go up. And so we obviously need to have some money going back to the business. We're going for a long-term play here and for high volume numbers. When you look at those other marketplaces that are out there, I don't know if I actually mentioned how much they make, but like OpenSea and LooksRare, they do in a bull market on average between $100 million and $250 million per day in volume, meaning they make about $2.5 to $6 million per day in profit. And so at that point, us earning 30% of that is more than enough to continue to develop, and the 70% going back to the community is going to make everyone very happy. So it's definitely a long-term play. It's a true business. That's the other thing is, we were born from very degen DeFi corners, and we all, grew up, if you will, over the past 2 years, learning that the sensational high APR, high APY Lambo calculator projects are the ones that you want to ape into. But something that's a true business, it does take some time to develop and to grow and to snowball into high volume levels. We're just now expanding, and today we'll be adding another 2 or 3 listings, and we're going to be adding probably another 1 to 3 listings every single day for the next couple of weeks up until we launch on Ethereum, and then we're just fully blasting out on Ethereum. So full steam ahead, really just focusing on getting those new collections up there. We can list any collection. So that's the thing is a lot of people are like, oh, so you have an NFT marketplace, how do you get collections listed with you now? The thing is that any collection that launches, they go and they launch their contract address on the blockchain. We can go pull that contract address and we can go list all their NFTs up with us. And we've done that. So we've listed, quite a few top collections. The moment we launched, we wanted to open our doors with existing collections. But the bread and butter is really getting those collections to have their communities go and trade with us, see the benefit in using our community, as well as finding those new mints. So we also have a brand ambassadorship program going on for anyone that knows of any NFT projects, or even friends, family, colleagues, anyone that you see on Twitter that's starting a new project that needs either a launch pad, where they need development help, they need artist help, they need technology, marketing help, whatever it is, we can help them out with it. And even if they just want to launch on a new marketplace, something with a lot of eyes on it, that's just trending and new because we just launched 4 weeks ago, we could be that just for them. And you get a little bounty for it, a little bit of a commission.
And how much does it cost for a project that's already on OpenSea, for example, to list with Alpha shares?
So it's completely free. So if a project's already minted and wants to list, completely free. And like I said, we can import them with just a few clicks of a button, and we can kind of get any project up there. The goal here is to get their communities to, like I said, it's community focused. The big thing here, and kind of a big shift that we're having, which I've been kind of waiting for our whole homepage and everything to update, but there is kind of a big shift in what our company mission and vision, if you will, is. And so really what we're focusing on is offering unique experiences to the users of our platform. We're not, right now, we are an NFT marketplace. That is the main focus of us. That's the income producer right now. That's what's going to be splitting profits to holders. But that's not the main focus. We will actually be a hub for more than just an NFT marketplace. We've already got so many of these products and services built out, but we obviously know we got to release them in a cadence that makes sense. But we've got a DEX, we've got an auto compounder, we've got a launchpad that is kind of working behind the scenes, but we'll be putting it more up forefront with its own actual landing page and platform that people can operate through. But we've got everything in one spot. And so the goal here is to really create a unique experience where anyone across all chains can trade their NFTs, trade their tokens on a DEX, go ahead and auto compound, stake your tokens, earn some money on them. And then we've got plenty of other ideas that I don't want to spill the beans yet. But that's the whole point, is to kind of create a unique experience for people to be here. But for projects, it's completely free for them. And that's it. We don't just want projects to list with us, though. We want the community to want to trade with us. We don't want them to have to feel the need to go to any other marketplace and to go mix and match, like, oh, I want to trade my NFTs on Ethereum, and then I want to trade my NFTs on AVAX. Well, I got to go to this marketplace, then I got to go to that marketplace. Instead, all under one roof. So that's the vision there.
Sweet. And I know it might be a little bit too early for monthly, but on average so far, how much weekly revenue are you guys pulling in?
So in terms of revenue, I guess revenue could be counted as volume on the site. So I was out of town. I left town, late Friday night, and I got back in late last night. So I haven't been able to look at all the numbers over the weekend. But before I left, which was just about 3.5 weeks or 4 weeks since we launched, we did about 1.2 million in volume. So we're very happy about that. That's actually very substantial for Avalanche. If we were on Ethereum, it would be like, yay, that's great. And I think that once we hit Ethereum, we're going to have some far higher KPIs that we want to hit. But for Avalanche, it's just absolutely amazing. We really, for a few days there, we were blowing the gas charts off the roof, or blowing the roof off the gas charts, because we were having so many people mint on Avalanche that our project was #1 for quite some time.
And Tyler, I mean, AVAX is my favorite layer one for many reasons. We won't go off on that tangent because we'd be here for another hour, but curious to know why you chose AVAX versus launching straight up on Ethereum.
Well, so the main reason, honestly, for that was, well, there's multiple reasons, and I'm a very transparent person. And so the first reason, and I mean, this is, I guess, from a timeline perspective, why the reasons came about, but then it actually kind of fell to be that this is a perfect chain for this. But when we started this was, again, I had an idea of, hey, how could we go and do something like fractionalizing real estate? Well, if we wanted to, we need the capital to actually go and establish something like this. We need money. And so the idea was to go and launch a token that can raise that money. And we were at first like, hey, this is our first time doing this. Let's see if we can, do it on Avalanche. It's a lot more cost effective. Gas fees are a lot cheaper. This was in February when the market was pretty high. And so we launched on Avalanche, and that's the initial reason. Once we decided that we wanted to be, a full DeFi dashboard where you can go and claim your rewards from owning whatever NFTs, it just made so much more sense to stay on Avalanche. We thought about launching on Ethereum, moving everything over there. But when people go to claim, they don't want to have to pay substantial gas fees, especially once we get, or once the next bull run happens and the markets are congested, or the networks rather are congested. So that's really why Avalanche is just such a good chain for quick transactions with low gas fees.
So, with respect to the Alpha Pack collection, I'm assuming here, just at first glance, that there are different rarities and tiers. Can you give us some more insight into that? For example, I see the Alpha Wolf, the Lone Wolf, the Ronin Wolf, and the Apex Wolf.
Yeah, sure. So when we first announced this, we had a couple different tiers that we wanted to offer people. And so since we, like I said earlier, we made it so that the mint is using our token, we're never going to be selling our token. And so how every other NFT market, or not NFT market, any other NFT collection operates and makes their money is they go and launch their collection. They have a roadmap and they say, hey, if we mint out our collection and we sell, 1,000 NFTs for $100, well, we made 100 grand. And we can use that 100 grand and we can go and do this, this, and that. For us, it's not that way because we used our initial token to raise that seed round, if you will, use that money, but we still needed a Series A. We need to raise some sort of money. And so since the majority of the NFTs, 98.43% of the NFTs are going to be minted with our token, we're not going to be able to capture that in a monetary value. And so instead, we have a Genesis tier where there's, Genesis collection rather, and there's 3 tiers of it, where there are the top 10 Apex, there are 47 Ronin Wolves, and then there are 100 Lone Wolves. What those do is they, for one, were auctioned on in an auction. So that was the start of everything. Before the mint opened up, we had an auction that lasted for 48 hours. It was absolutely crazy. It was so awesome to see everyone going and bidding within the last minute. People were trying to snipe each other's auctions and get the NFT right ahead of someone else. So much fun to watch. But that one went, and it was basically just an English auction where it got bid up. You start at a certain number. It was 20, 40, and 60 AVAX for the different tiers. And they ended up getting bid up where, one of the Apexes went for over 300 AVAX.
Wow.
And so went super, super well. People wanted those because they have much higher weighted returns. So since they only represent 1.57% of the total collection, we were able to offer them some crazy returns. So an Apex, it earns 18 times what a normal base would earn. And so that's why they went for 300 AVAX. And so once those finished, though, then the remaining 9,843, they opened up to mint with our Alpha token, of which, like we went over earlier, about a little over 40% are now minted.
Understood. And so with respect to Lone Ronin Apex, these have all already been minted, and the only way to get your hands on one of those is if someone, for whatever reason, puts them up on the marketplace.
That's correct. Yep, that's correct. And so those are also, in terms of the artistic styling of it, they are kind of the most rare. The top 10 Apex are one of one. There's no traits that are present in any of the other NFTs. Same with the Ronin and Lone. They're all kind of all the traits on the Ronin are only on the Ronin, all the traits on the Lone are only on the Lone. And so they're very, very special. But then when you get we wanted to still continue this idea of rarity, though, in the base collection. So for the 9,843, those also have different traits, and it's a full collection. And so we haven't added rarity just yet in the marketplace. That's one of the next things that we are adding. We've added rarity per trait, so you can see the percentages per trait, but we haven't added necessarily what number out of the collection yours is ranked. So ranked rarity, that's coming very, very soon, but there are some AVAX stats websites that already show it. So people that are minting are already getting excited about minting something and seeing that they got a rare one.
Super cool. I do see that the Alpha Pack NFTs are trading on the open market at a floor price of 8.67 AVAX. Is there a reason people are putting them up for so much more than they're currently mintable for? People can just go and mint one for much cheaper. I'm not sure why anyone would buy one for 8x or even more of the price.
It's a good question. I guess, people just speculating, right? Some people probably went and minted a ton and then they're just going to let them sit up there. People trade their NFTs in different ways. So it's whatever agenda, not agenda, I'm trying to think of the word, whatever way that they want to do it. But yeah, I've noticed a lot of people will go and mint 10 and then they'll keep, the majority, but then they'll go and just toss them up there and wait for someone to buy it. But a couple floors have been swept already.
From a utility perspective, understood. So from a utility perspective, none of those 10,000 are any different. Aside from the artwork.
Correct. So no, not the 10,000, the 9,843 are all the same. From a utility perspective, they all earn the same amount of the shared earnings from the marketplace. But then the Genesis, they earn more. So a Lone Wolf will earn 3 times, so on and so forth, until the Apex earns 18 times. And so that's where they do have a little bit difference in utility only between the Genesis and base.
Understood. So we're closing in on the end of the AMA here, but before I do that, I want to call on some community members. However, before I pass the mic, is there anything about, and I'm sure there is, anything about the ecosystem that I haven't asked or touched upon that you want to share with us?
I really did kind of try to lay it all out there. I did touch on the fact that, we are going to be more than just a marketplace. Everything that we're doing is all about, developing fee producing platforms, and those fee producing platforms obviously generate income, and we want that income to go back to the people that support us. It's very difficult for people in this space to find true passive income protocols. Most of them are just based on inflationary tokenomics or Ponzi-nomics, where it's required to have a new investor come in for someone else to be paid. Something that we are really trying to be, the Ponzi killer. We really want to make sure that we can operate a true business, and this true business that actually generates passive income on itself. Because these are all just deployable contracts. We do nothing. We go and we just make sure that we make these connections. We find these partners. We make sure that from the development side, we offer a great experience and a unique experience. But then after that, it's an automated system that goes and you guys could be an owner of. And so that's the true benefit here. And we're still
I
minting.
couldn't agree more. I typically ask NFT projects, how do you plan on, capturing so much of the user base that's currently dominated by OpenSea, by LooksRare, by the NFT platforms that came along much earlier that do have a first mover's advantage. But I think the proof is in the pudding. You guys are distributing 70% of your revenue to community members and via NFTs or the token. So kudos to you guys. Yeah. I wish you guys all the best. Let's call on some community members so we can give them enough time to ask their questions. Western Beast, you're first.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks, Noah. My first question, I think we're short on time, so I'm just going to have our 2 questions. I'll ask 2 in your community group. My first question is that if someone can actually own 1/10,000th of a property via an NFT, does this mean that someone can actually own a higher amount of this property more than 1/10,000th of that NFT if it's mounted? Now, this is why I'm asking this. For example, I mint one NFT. What's the maximum I can mint? If I mint one, that's 1/10,000 using 100 million tokens. What's the maximum amount I can mint? Can I mint up to a certain percentage of that particular property?
Yeah, so there's actually no cap. It would be pretty expensive to mint a lot, and so we do have some whales that held a lot of tokens and they minted quite a number of NFTs, but there's no cap on it, and so it's really just dependent on who gets in. It's a dynamic system, so at the beginning there might be someone that goes and buys a ton of NFTs and has a big percentage of the share, and they might sit on that for a long time and they might earn a lot, which is great for them because they supported us. But at some point they could go and easily go and list their NFTs up and basically sell a portion of their share and let it be to someone else. But yep, no limits at all. We want to be a completely free market. There are no taxes on anything. Our token is taxless. Staking and unstaking is completely fee and taxless. We want to be a completely free market. The only thing that is taken as a fee is just like any other marketplace where there's a transaction fee that's taken, because obviously the marketplaces need to make money to support themselves. And that's it.
All right. That's a wonderful strategy. I still have 2 more questions, but I'll be dropping those on in the Telegram group. Thanks a lot for answering.
You can ask them if you want, Western. Don't rush. It's okay. We can get some more questions.
All right.
This is a really cool project.
So my next question is still on the NFTs. Thanks, Noah. I understand that there's a total limit to the total number of NFTs that can actually be minted. I just checked your website now and I saw about 5,090 that's left. At some point, the ratio to property of the NFT will become uneven. That's where the point where more than 90% of the NFTs will be minted. And I'm pretty sure there will still be real estate lying around. So how would you deal with this when the ratio of NFT to real estate ratio becomes very uneven?
I'm a little confused. The ratio to NFTs to what? Like, are you saying because of the token, the amount of tokens that would be left, or what do you mean by that? If you can explain a little more.
Okay, so there's actually a fixed number of NFTs. Am I correct?
Yes, 10,000.
Good. So now, what happens when the complete 10,000 NFTs has been minted? I mean, there's going to definitely be a price increase in the ratio of real estate to the NFTs. Am I correct?
So for this, it's not. So I did talk about real estate in the beginning, just to kind of touch on what kind of sparked this idea, and to kind of talk about another income producing source and something we'd love to look into. But right now, this doesn't have anything to do with real estate. Right now, this is just the NFT marketplace. And so right now, once all 10,000 are minted out, that just means that all 10,000 are fully owned and they're producing income that's shared from the platform. It's not going to just be the marketplace though. So if you own one of these 10,000, sure, you're going to share in the marketplace for right now. But like I said, we have a DEX that produces fees. We have an auto compounder that produces fees. We've got many other things coming up that are going to produce fees that all go back to you as an owner of one of these collections. In the future, the far, far future, if we can make it happen, we'd love to do real estate. And the way that that would work is every property, it would be different than this. You know, for real estate fractionalization, you'd actually have to make a new collection per property. And that's how that would work. I think that answers your question.
Yeah. I just now. I think you just answered the third question. Well, that will be all from my end. I really wish you guys the best, and I hope you guys stay bullish moonward. Over to you, Noah.
Thank you very much, Western.
Sayed, you are up next.
Yeah, thank you, Noah. Okay, so I was just thinking that will users be able to buy NFT on Alpha Shares NFT marketplace through debit or credit card using fiat? I have seen some marketplace have this feature available.
We are looking for that to do that, and just even to let you guys know exactly how that works. We are in the process of establishing a new entity. We currently had an entity in Wyoming, the state of Wyoming, but we are kind of doing some things to make sure that we can operate more like all the other competition out there, which is having an offshore entity somewhere in a foreign government that is a little bit more crypto friendly. So then we can go and do things like that. Work with something like MoonPay, or there are a couple other companies we've already been in chats with so that we could do that. But just waiting on a couple more documentations to come back. We should honestly have that ready. Well, I'm not sure how long it will be ready, but we will be ready for it in just a couple weeks.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, I also want to know that who is the artist behind these Alpha NFTs collection?
So honestly, they are an amazing, they're an amazing couple their names are Natalie and Gabby. They are from Brazil, and we found them actually working with another studio, but they were kind of freelancing for that studio, and we were working with multiple artists, and so we kept finding that some of the pieces of art came back looking amazing, and some of them came back looking subpar. And so we're like, who are these artists that are making this amazing art? And so we ended up getting connected directly with them, and then we ended up hiring them. And so now they are actually our full-time on-staff artists that they're hired with us. So they are actually under our brand. Just to give you guys a little bit more idea too about our team, we've got 2 full-time on-staff artists. We've got 2 amazing designers that are world-class. One of them works for a company that just sold for, well, doesn't work for him anymore because he just exited, but sold for $1 billion. It was a pet care company. The other one's Mel Designs. You might have seen her around Twitter. And then we've got a massive team of developers, as well as an awesome marketing team and sales team that's being built out right now. So we've got about 15 people in the team as it stands, constantly expanding, but our artists are definitely awesome. And since we have a launch pad, we also, anyone that's interested in making a project can utilize them.
Art is really amazing. I have seen that, and it's really amazing and beautiful. Thank you so much for answering. Over to you, Noah.
Thank you.
Right on. Well, thank you, Tyler, for being with us today. Really enjoyed learning about Alpha Shares, and it does look like you're taking a unique approach to NFT marketplace. A lot of hard work has gone into this, and I'd be keen to see how you guys do once you move on to Ethereum. Before you go, for audience members that are joining, do you want to give us a quick summary of who you are and what Alpha Shares is going to bring to the NFT and crypto ecosystem?
Yeah, of course. Well, for one, I do want to thank you for having us up here. I think that, having a stage like this to talk in front of a lot of people is massive. Right now, a big focus of ours is expanding our community, getting more people to know about us. These NFTs will be gone soon. They're exclusive and capped at 10,000. And so at some point, we won't be talking about them anymore, and it'll just be focused on projects. And so get in while you can. But what Alpha Shares is really we're just a company that's focused on creating unique experiences. We're taking things that most people see as commonplace in the Web3, NFT marketplace, a DEX, an auto compounder, things that people use all the time. But we found that they're very dysfunctional in terms of disjointed, They're in many different places across many different chains, and we kind of want to be that one-stop shop, all in one place, all under one umbrella, with a very, very unique experience. Better than that, you get to own it. So that's all I really got. Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you everyone for listening here today as well. Our Discord is always open. It's just discord.gg/alphashares. We've also got a Twitter, or not Twitter, a Telegram with the same thing. It's just alpha_shares. But we'd love to have all of you here. And thank you again, Noah. Thank you, Whale Talk. Thank you, everyone that's a part of this team. We really loved it.
Thank you, Tyler. Best of luck, man. Take care.
Thank you, you too.